Welcome to the Messenger of Truth channel. God bless you and protect your life. Subscribe, follow our work and share the truth with others. Attos 18. After this Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth. And finding a certain Jew named Aquila, a man of Pontus by race, who had recently come from Italy, and his wife Priscilla, for Claudius had commanded all the Jews to depart from Rome, he joined them. And since he was of the same trade, he stayed with them and worked, for their trade was to make tents. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath, and persuaded Jews and Greeks. When Silas and Timothy came down from Macedonia, Paul was urged by the word to testify to the Jews that Jesus was the Christ. But when they resisted and blasphemed, he shook out his clothes and said to them, "Your blood be upon your own heads, I am clean, and from henceforth depart unto the Gentiles." And he went out from there and entered the house of a man named Titus Justus, who served God, whose house was next door to the synagogue. And Crispus, the ruler of the synagogue, believed in the Lord with all his house, and many of the Corinthians also, when they heard him, believed and were baptized. And the Lord said to Paul in a vision, "Do not be afraid, hands on you to harm you, for I have many people in this city." And he stayed there a year and 6 months, teaching the word of God among them. But when Gallio was proconsul of Achaia, the Jews with one accord rose up against Paul and brought him before the judgment seat, saying, "This man persuades men to serve God contrary to the law." And when Paul was about to open his mouth, Gallio said to the Jews, "If indeed it were a matter of wrong or of great wrongdoing, O Jews, I would rightly suffer you. But if the matter is one of words, or of names, or of the law which is among you, you yourselves forbid, for I will not be the judge of these things." And he threw them out of the court. Then they all laid hold of Sosthenes, the ruler of the synagogue, and beat him before the judgment seat. And when Paul had tarried there many days, he took leave of the brethren and sailed away from there for Syria, and with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shaved their heads in Cenchrea, because they had a vow. And he came to Ephesus and left them there, but he went into the synagogue and disputed with the Jews. And when they asked him to stay a little longer, he did not agree. But he took his leave of them, saying, "God willing, I will return to you again." And he departed from Ephesus. And when he had come to Caesarea, he went up to Jerusalem, and saluted the church and went down to Antioch. And having spent some time there, he departed, and went through the region of Galatia and Phrygia, in order, confirming all the disciples. And a certain Jew named Apollos, an Alexandrian by race, an eloquent man and mighty in the Scriptures, came to Ephesus. This man was learned in the way of the Lord, and fervent in spirit, he spoke and taught accurately the things of the Lord, knowing only the baptism of John. He began to speak boldly in the synagogue. When Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they took him with them and declared to him more pointedly the way of God. When he wanted to go to Achaia, the brothers encouraged him and wrote to the disciples to receive him, and when he came, he greatly helped those who had believed through grace. For with great vehemence he publicly persuaded the Jews, showing by the Scriptures that Jesus was the Christ.